in addition to building the perception of value, so value-based selling, there's another selling approach that's very, very useful, and this is called education-based selling. And education-based selling is all about how do you make your prospective customer, the person you're negotiating with, the person you're trying to convince to accept a transaction, how do you make them a smarter customer?
Absolutely.
How do you make them a better customer, a more informed customer? And I think in your past job at the Mark Ingram Bride Atelier, Mark Ingram is like the Martha Stewart of the bridal industry. He's awesome.
Yeah.
And he was really good, and you're really good at helping your customers understand what's important when it comes to...
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I guess when you have somebody walking in who's thinking about buying a $20,000 dress, they kind of want to know why. They want to know where the fabrics come from. They want to know about why it's going to fit them so well. All of the inner boning and what we're going to do in alterations. They want to know about who designed it, and they want to know that they're going to be taken care of really, 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 really well, even if they don't know that they want to know all those things, and even if they don't ask you about all those things. I think even if people are used to spending a lot of money, people are willing to spend money to get a lot back.
Right.
And you've got to be able to support what's going on.
They're willing to pay for value.
Yeah.
And, it's like one of those things that people may not know. Like, they may know a little bit about fabric or a little bit about construction, but they're also comparing all of these different dresses. And, they may have one that they really love for $12,000, and there may be one that they think they really like for $6,000. Right. It's like, why would I ever pay?
They want to know what the heck the difference is.
Yeah. And education-based selling, if you tell them what the difference is, and you do that in a way that they can understand it and they can see it, what that does is make them want the $12,000 one more because they understand why it's worth it, and want the $6,000 one less.
I had that situation happen a lot, and normally, if it was that big of a disparity with dresses that looked the same, the answer normally was the $6,000 one was made with... Well, sometimes it was still made with silk, but probably made in China. The $12,000 one was made with all silk fabrics in the United States, and if it's that expensive, it probably had some kind of handwork done. So really, they weren't just paying for the fabric, they were paying for hours of someone's life to make this thing happen. And even though it's still $12,000, if you can explain it that way and show them all the layers and really make it seem like this is a story, this is someone's life putting hours in to make this happen for you, even if it's still really expensive, they can understand it and it doesn't seem like such a stretch.
Yeah. And, also the same reason why, a lot of other retailers would give discounts to encourage people to buy these really expensive dresses.
Yeah.
And Mark didn't do that, but he didn't have to. Why?
Well, for one thing, he had an unbelievably strong reputation, which made people want to come to him.
Yep.
He also had the best fitters, has the best fitters in the business, which is a really important last step. So everyone knew that at the end, you don't want your fitter to be bad. You spend $12,000 on a dress and then it gets junked up 2 weeks before the wedding. So,
yeah. And those are types of things like the quality of alterations.
Right.
Your customers didn't know a whole lot about, did not have have really any experience with before they walk into the salon. So they may not understand or appreciate just how important that is. But by educating them about the process of buying a gown and the alterations process and, why you're more expensive but you don't give discounts.
And let me tell you, if you can work that into your discussion before the issue of am I going to buy this or not comes up, then it doesn't seem like you're selling to them. If you haven't been able to talk about that until the end and then they start asking why is this expensive, it really is more difficult and it starts to seem like a justification.
Right.
If it's just part of, oh, this is so cool, this is who you are, let me find out about this. If you can bring it about in a more natural way, it's so much easier for you and it makes them feel like they're not being sold to.
Yeah, because you're investing in making your customers smarter.
Yeah.
And, it's giving them information about what they're considering, regardless of whether they buy from you or not. There were still... if extremely price-sensitive brides that would purchase gowns from other places, but still talk about Mark Ingram as like the best experience, and they would totally go there
and still send people to us, which was, I think, the best compliment you can ever get. Someone saying, you know what, I really wanted to get my dress there, I couldn't afford it, but you gotta go.
Yeah. So education-based selling is a really great strategy because it helps transform your prospects into potentially better customers
Yeah.
than they otherwise would be. And it's also a really good strategy to combine with giving something away free. Because you provided all of this education about
True.
what's important in a bridal gown, and they didn't have to pay a cent for it.
True.
All they had to do was come in.
Yeah.
So if you can provide some type of education, some type of seminar, some type of brochure, some type of training, all of these things to make your customers better. I mean, there's a wonderful quote by Kathy Sierra, who I respect very highly. Wrote a blog called Creating Passionate Users for a long time. She goes, don't necessarily invest in building a better camera. Okay, anybody can do that. Invest in building better photographers.
I love that.
And people will buy more of your cameras. And that's a wonderful example of education-based selling. The businesses that out-educate others, that help, the customers get the end result that they're looking for,
Right.
those are the ones that succeed.
Yeah.
And education-based selling is the best way to do that.